Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, welcome back to Industrial Talk. Thank you very much for your support of this platform that celebrates industry professionals all around the world. You're bold, brave, you dare greatly. You innovate, you collaborate, you make the world a better place. We thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. That's why we celebrate you on Industrial Talk. We're broadcasting from Xcelerate 2025. Austin, Texas is the location. Fluke Reliability is the company that's putting it on, and I got to tell you, you need to put this on your calendar. It is a wonderful event. If you're in the world of asset management, maintenance, reliability, this is the event for you. It's small enough, but not too large. It's the right mix, and you get to talk to incredible people that are focused on solving your problems, like the one we have in our hot seat, Tom Wilkes. He's in our hot seat. Let's get a cracking. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
You've been very patient. I've
good.
had to reschedule him a couple of times, listeners.
It's been a good conference, though. Lots of things happening, so happy to make it happen.
Yeah. You had to come and find me. I felt bad. I felt bad for a second, and then I was fine. You don't have to worry about that. But anyway, so you're having a good conference.
Yeah.
And let's start this. Give us a little background. Let's level set. Let's talk about Tom, who you are.
Well, let's see. I've been with Plant Services Magazine for 10 years. Joined the team in 2014, and our publication focuses on smart solutions for operations and reliability. I've been coming to the Xcelerate conference for the past couple of years and attended a couple of times back when it was in more of an E-Maint user group. But they have really evolved this conference to include, like you were saying, thought leadership aspects, a holistic view of what happens on the plant floor, a sense of what your fellow plant workers are doing across the country and even beyond the U.S., around the globe. So it's been an education this week to hear about the progress people are making with their maintenance best practices. Yeah,
it is interesting, and one of the themes that I really like, and they're pushing, and I think they've been pushing it, but it's becoming that connected reliability. So there's a lot of solutions that exist under the Fluke umbrella, as well as the Fluke, bigger company with the devices, and it is nice because I want to see success. I want to see people achieve what they need to achieve, but they're not going to do it if it's difficult. And I think Fluke is on the right path.
That's totally correct. One of the press briefings I just got out of, the customer SKF was talking about rolling out E-Maint among their plants, and they have 81 plants worldwide. So they started with a few plants, and number one, when their management team, the leadership team, saw the return on investment that E-Maint was delivering in the form of more streamlined work processes, optimizing their PM routes, management actually mandated it across the entire company. So they're in the process of rolling out to 81 different plants.
No, that's fantastic.
And you're hearing stories like this all week with people trying to figure out, okay, how can they get the most out of E-Maint to accomplish their specific plant's goals? Is it to evolve their condition monitoring program by adding on tools into the platform to move data in there? Is it simply to ingest manuals, work plans in order to optimize those work plans more efficiently? So it's been a great week to hear where people are.
Is it sustainable? Because you know as well as I do, in the world of reliability, asset management and maintenance, it ebbs and flows. The leadership decides that it needs to go some other place, and therefore opens up other opportunities for other leaders who might not have the same passion for optimizing, making the operations efficient, whatever the focus might be. Does the portfolio of solutions that are offered by Fluke Reliability, do they sort of foster compliance and sustainable focus on that?
I believe so, and I think it centers on the CMMS itself. That's where sustainable best practices often start, right?
Yeah.
Because the CMMS can become your historian of record.
Yeah.
It can store those work plans. It can act as a partial data historian, right? So it doesn't matter which technician is in or out, doesn't matter which part of the leadership is in or out. If you have a CMMS collecting these best practices, organizing them, keeping track of the work instructions, that's your collective memory for the plant. It's stable, it's not going to go anywhere, and it can evolve with the next generation that comes on. So, as you were saying, as new tools are introduced, future workers can use the base of knowledge in the CMMS and add to it over time, right? So, that's why this conference, I think, is so useful to understand the maturity level of various plant teams and maintenance teams. Is because as long as they're using CMMS, and with E-Maint it's either X4 or X5, they already have a step up on their competition because they have that collective memory available to them, no matter who's actually going to be turning the wrench or who's going to be in the management suite approving future capital projects.
Yeah, see, the aha moment that I had, everybody talks about I'm having a difficult time finding people, skilled individuals, knowledgeable individuals. And then I have this silver tsunami that's leaving my organization and all that tribal knowledge is going out the door. But if you do it correctly, if you have a system like E-Maint and are very diligent in making sure that system is accurate, then that learning curve of those individuals that come on board is decreased dramatically, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. And it was just sort of an aha, then invest in it.
Yeah.
Stop complaining.
Yeah, and there's less rebuilding when someone does leave for whatever reason.
Yes.
Right? There's less backsliding. And something else the SKF team mentioned was the mobile aspect of the CMMS system.
Yes.
That they got more easy buy-in from the technicians because the user interface on their phones and tablets was so intuitive and easy to use. So if you're looking for one of these systems, look for one that does have a good mobile component, because that is the way to get newer future workers on board with your system. Put it on a device they probably already have in their pockets and make sure that they can interface with it at the right levels. That way they can tap into, again, that knowledge base, which is stored in the CMMS.
So take us through, because you've been attending this a couple of times. You've seen a sort of a change that is sort of a messaging change. Explain to us a little bit about that.
It's been a really interesting change this year. I can't find fault with previous conferences, for example, but the nuance has been subtle but significant. At most conferences like this, you'll have the opening sessions set a 3 or 4 or 5 year future vision out, and then the message is challenging the people in the room to meet it. Right, and that's fair enough. Mm-hmm. With this year's Xcelerate conference, I think the message was more focused on the tools that are already being used, whether it was alignment tools, whether it was balancing tools, the fundamental hardware pieces that a plant will have. There wasn't much talk about AI in the sense of you should already have it. The talk was more about what is it, how might you use it going forward? What's the best application? So the tone is very much where Fluke has listened to its customer base and is meeting them where they are, while still setting a vision saying, we will be your partner to get you there as you need to. So instead of spinning a vision and leaving it as a challenge, the message has been, we are your partner. We will help you achieve what you want to achieve. And here's where we see industry going. Feel free to let us know if that's where you're going to.
Yeah, I like that. And the reason I like that is because I've said it a couple of times, quite frankly, a number of times, is that all of this is hitting, let's say I'm a manufacturer and it's hitting me. Mm-hmm. It's online, it's in publication, it's just constantly hitting me. For me, it would be difficult to determine the avenue that I need to take for my organization. Is it A, go down this road, B, go down that road, and so on and so forth? I have to have trusted individuals that I can work with to be able to make those decisions and ensure success in my journey. Mm-hmm. And I like what they're doing. Do you get that same sense?
I do. It's a signature feel at this event where the customer service reps on the Fluke side are always available for plants and their customers to talk with. It's sort of 24/7 support for these questions you're talking about, right? So if the plant themselves can't identify the strategy or what the next best application is, there's always a resource on the E-Maint side to consult with and say, okay, what are other people doing with this? How might we do it better? I think what's also inspiring too is a number of people from the plants who are here sharing their stories of condition monitoring success, of warehouse standardization success, of optimizing their spare parts and inventory in an age right now where we're going through some market disruptions. I've seen a lot of the attendees here talking with each other at lunchtime in the hallways, comparing notes about, okay, how did you do X, how did you do Y? So that sense of collaboration and community you're talking about, I think that is being fostered at this conference, as it is every year, but the opening sessions really set that tone in a strong way.
Yeah, I can't say it enough, because I know that I want companies to succeed. And to be able to have somebody like an organization like Fluke and the professionals, they also, I find, are very committed to the education side. Mm-hmm. And what's fascinating is that all of these solutions in some way, shape, or form, and I was having this conversation with somebody else, I just said, you guys are, you're leading edge in some of these technologies, right? And how do you keep on improving? And they have the conversations with their customer base, and the customer saying, we need this. And it's just a very collegial combination of being able to work together to solve challenges that are existing today in industry.
I'm going to take this in a slightly different direction, but at a previous conference, I was struck by how many newer workers, millennial age, Gen Z, were interested. Yeah, they were interested in professional certifications in the area of reliability and maintenance. When I talked about the CMRP certification offered through the SMRP, it was clear that this was new to some of them. When I talked about the CRL, the CRE, the RMIC, those sort of key baseline certifications, there's a new generation of workers that are hungry for this information. They want to professionalize themselves. They want to train themselves. And so what you're saying really resonates the message here at the conference has been, don't let your capital budget for hardware be an either or choice when it comes to training. If you do want to build a sustainable program, you need to do both together, right? If you can, but try not to let your management tell you it's an either or choice. And try not to let management persuade you to invest in the latest, greatest technology just because it caught their attention, without complementary training on it, and potentially maintenance best practices too, because you need that baseline of best practices to make the technology work for you.
I always sort of point out there are like three legs to a stool. It's education, collaboration, because I want to learn from those individuals and I want to collaborate, which is very good from an Xcelerate 2025 perspective and next year and so on. And so I get to collaborate and have these conversations. And then you cannot have that conversation without innovating. So you have that education, collaboration, and innovate. And it's all represented at this particular event. Mm-hmm. Put your future hat on. You're in industry. You have numbers of conversations and you write about it. What do you think? What do you think's taking place? What's that future look like?
One of the things I think is taking place, and I'll focus on AI for this one, is that you're going to see a lot more adoption of AI assistants helping technicians to get the work done. And obviously the AI is not going to turn the wrench. It's not what I mean. It's more, say, AI chatbot prompts on their phone that link to a CMMS, which help them input the work order instructions, help them input data, help them capture the information so that the CMMS can then trigger a work order on the back end. One compelling presentation I saw at the MarCon conference 2 weeks ago at University of Tennessee was a collaboration between Oak Ridge National Lab and the university to build out some of these AI-driven chatbots to help technicians get their data input more consistently. But then the fascinating thing was there were 5 different chatbots on the back end, which would take the information they got from the field and then do more effective planning and scheduling, do more effective inventory management. So what you're going to see going forward is the AI, at the very least, helping people get more consistent data sets, get more complementary and clean data sets to do the work and make the decisions they have to while relying on good data.
Yeah, always the concern with any system is this pencil whipping, and if there's a way of being able to minimize it, probably will always happen because we're humans.
Right.
But minimize the pencil whipping through an automated solution and achieving what they need to achieve from an information perspective, I think is vital, because we're always talking about, there's gold in that data. I got to get more data to be able to make tactical decisions, but have some solution that says, yeah, hey, here I've been looking at this data and then I found this, go here. Which makes sense.
That's what we're hearing at Plant Services. Again, it's funny how quickly anyone who would want to keep those redundant PM routes for the sake of a quick break here and there, and God knows maintenance teams need breaks when they can get it, right?
Yeah.
But how quickly those minds are changed when you see the bottom line improving, and you see how much easier it is for the maintenance managers to report back positive results and ROI to leadership. Suddenly the attitude towards that changes, says, okay, let's work efficiently. Let's get rid of let's not do the busy work we're used to doing.
How do you, now we've talked about AI, there are a number of tools that are on the horizon, and all of them are various levels of excitement and interest and insights. What would be your recommendation on, I need executive buy-in? What do we need to do? It always gets down to dollars and cents, but what do we need to do?
It does. I'm going to fall back on something which Joe Anderson, who's a Reliability X, said here at the conference, which is go to your operations team. If you're in maintenance, go to your operations team, just walk the plant floor, learn what some of the stoppages are on the floor, which are unrelated to things breaking, and be known as someone who can start implementing process improvements at that level. He was very clear that once he did find a stoppage on a plant one time, he pulled in the reliability person, and they went out there and solved the problem together with operations. But you're looking for those moments to, number one, find good process improvement wins, and number two, collaborative process improvement wins.
Yeah.
Once you've got those teams working together and on board with what you're doing, then you can focus on the next steps, which is what sort of technology do I need to get them to more efficiently predict failures in my machines, for example. But there's a lot of things you can do even before the first investment in that kind of technology. It also gets you a sense of what the problems are on the plant floor to let you know, do I need an ultrasound probe? If I don't need that, do I need an infrared camera? Do I need a visual leak detector? What do I need? What problems are the operators experiencing? And how are my technology investments going to help them as well as me?
It always gets down to the human equation.
Yeah.
I mean, the technologies, the innovation, and the tools and the data collection.
Yeah.
It's all technology. It always gets down to that human interaction and being able to do it. Do you think there's and this, I digress, with also the challenges that exist within finding the right talent?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see universities stepping up? I know the University of Tennessee has a program, but do you see universities nimble enough to be able to handle and to be able to promote professions like asset management, reliability, whatever, but nimble enough to be able to sort of take into consideration all of the technology that's changing at a rapid pace?
That's an excellent question, and it's going to have a complicated answer. I think it depends on the university in many ways. University like University of Tennessee, Knoxville, which clearly has the state-of-the-art program in this area.
They do.
But there are also universities which do invest in things like the Rockwell Automation Fair, the IMTS trade shows, and they make sure that they are there with their booth, demonstrating what their engineering department is doing to support industry in this way. I think that when it comes to universities, the number one thing they could do is, as the actual classes are in motion, the engineering classes, if you have teachers who give examples of the application of those skills in various sectors, that's going to be the best advocate for manufacturing. I'll give an old example. 10 years ago, I was flying home from Rockwell Automation Fair, and I talked to a young system integrator, and he said he got into system integration because he was interested in networking and computer science. Over his college career, he became aware that there was a massive opportunity for integrators in heavy industry in America, and he made it his business to become an industrial system integrator. And he said, I'm going to retire early, and I'm going to retire well. But no one told him that's where the opportunity for his skills were. He had to sort of figure that out for himself, and he had a couple people in the university telling him. So as long as you've got a support system at the university which says, yes, you can use this skill for X industry, here's the application in Y industry. In my opinion, that's the best thing that could happen.
Yeah, I think that there's tremendous pressure for universities, especially today, in the world of technology, to be far more nimble. And I'm not sure if they got to figure that out.
They do, and I hope there's advocates on the teaching side who have the dexterity enough to know where the applications lie, because there's a lot of opportunity coming in the next coming years.
It's huge, and having that street cred also helps out, right?
Absolutely.
Are you out there? Have you done it before? Don't just give me some book thing. Anyway, Tom, how do people get a hold of you?
You can reach me at twilk@endeavorb2b.com by email, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm under Thomas Wilk, but friends call me Tom, so once we're connected, I'll be on a first-name basis. And anyone who's listening, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk to you.
You never disappoint. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, once again, we're broadcasting from Xcelerate 2025 here in Austin, Texas, brought to you by those wonderful people at Fluke Reliability. Go check them out. They're wonderful. You need to. They need to be a part of your team in a big way, as well as some. We're going to have all his contact information out on Industrial Talk, so fear not. We've got you covered. We want you to succeed. All right, stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
Tom Wilk. Yep. His stat card is out on Industrial Talk. You need to reach out to him. He needs to be a part of your network. We were talking about the technology that is impacting, in a positive way, reliability, asset management, and everything in between. It is a must. And get the latest and greatest from Tom and his team at Endeavor. It's a must. Must connect. All right, Industrial Talk is more than just podcasts. We're a marketing company. We understand the market. We want you to succeed. We have the tools and the strategies that are necessary for you to succeed, your company to succeed, bring in greater revenue, greater attention. It's all here. We know what we're doing. All you have to do is go out to Industrial Talk, talk to me. We'll set you up with the plan of success. You can use it. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly, hang out with Tom, change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly, so stay tuned.